You're watching Forsaken Joe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the story. Let's begin.
It was a Saturday night, and I was half watching some garbage reality show with a beer in my hand and my feet up on the coffee table when Marcy walked in like she was about to sell me a $900 yoga mat. Tight white leggings, flowy top, huge tote bag, hair pulled back like she was about to lead a guided breathwork session in Sedona. She stood in front of the TV like it was urgent. "I'm going on a 2-week rejuvenation sabbatical," she said. I didn't move, just raised the beer to my lips. "What the hell is that?" She smiled, like she'd been rehearsing. "It's a professional reset. I've been reading about burnout and alignment, and, well, it's time I invest in me." Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. She dropped her bag on the rug, like this was supposed to be a dramatic moment. "I'm going with Neil," she said, like I should know who the hell that was. "Neil who?" She pulled her shoulders back. "Neil Dempsey. From college. We reconnected online. He's planning a retreat for creative professionals in the Sierra Nevadas." I blinked. "You mean that broke-ass theater kid you dated junior year?" She nodded like it was cute. "He's evolved. He's not stuck in a corporate box like some people." I took another sip and kept my eyes on the screen. Sounds like a solid plan. That rattled her. I could tell by how her mouth twitched. She expected me to throw a fit, maybe beg her not to go, accuse her of cheating. Instead, I reached for another beer. "You're not even going to ask questions?" she said, stepping closer. "This is kind of a big deal for me." "Cool. Hope it helps," I said. She paced in front of the coffee table like she was waiting for me to crack. "It's not like I'm leaving forever. Just need space to figure things out. For my career. My soul. You'll find plenty of space in the mountains." She squinted at me, trying to decode whether I was mad or bluffing. But I wasn't bluffing, and I wasn't mad. I was done. After a few more minutes of her circling like a bird trying to land a guilt trip, she gave up. She smiled again, soft and smug, like she'd just pulled off some clever emotional chess move. "I knew you'd understand," she said. What she didn't know? The condo was in my name. Every bill. Every damn thing. And I'd already started packing boxes. She thought she won. I cracked the second beer and flipped the channel. Let her think that. She left the living room humming like she'd just unlocked some new spiritual level, and by Monday morning, the credit card notifications started rolling in. First, it was a leather-bound gold journal that cost more than my car insurance. Then a life design planner made with reclaimed seaweed paper. By Wednesday, there were 3 different ergonomic backpacks sitting by the door, each one tagged, "Essential for female-led vision quests." She called it professional investment. I called it financial arson. I kept my mouth shut and played the role, supportive husband nodding while she unpacked noise-canceling headphones and crystal-infused pens. "This one's for manifesting abundance," she said, holding up a pen like it was a sword. I grinned. "Hope it comes with a receipt." She didn't laugh, just went back to typing some nonsense on her iPad about vibe-based consulting structures. Meanwhile, I was transferring money into a new account under my name only. Little by little. Nothing flashy. Just smart, quiet moves. Thursday, she came home with a portable espresso machine and a box labeled Entrepreneur Starter Kit. It had custom business cards that said, "Marcy Dempsey, Productivity Catalyst." No phone number. Just her Instagram handle and the tagline, "Structure Your Spark." She slammed it on the table like she just made the Forbes list. Her sister Ellie showed up on FaceTime later that night. I was chopping onions for dinner and could hear the screechy praise echoing from the bedroom. "This is so brave of you, Mars," Ellie said. "You're reclaiming your creative identity. Most women would kill to be in your position." "Right." Marcy twirled a pen and leaned into the camera. "I've always had a visionary side. I just never had the space to explore it." No mention of bills, rent, or how Neil's visionary startup probably didn't include health insurance. While she talked, I emailed the lease agreement on a new apartment across town. Quiet place. Month to month. Came with a garage. I booked movers and started boxing up the stuff I actually cared about. Tools, old photos, my guitars. Anything she wouldn't even notice gone. By the weekend, she was fully unhinged in the name of alignment. Streaming live videos of herself doing productivity affirmations in the living room. "I am the architect of my energy," she chanted while bouncing on a yoga ball. "I attract high-level connections." I walked past her holding a box of winter coats. She didn't blink. too busy filming herself on 3 different angles. One phone, one iPad, one mounted to the cabinet with duct tape. She ordered a ring light, then 2 more. One for her desk, one travel-sized. Said it was necessary for brand consistency. I nodded like she wasn't slowly staging a nervous breakdown with pastel stationery. Every time I packed something, I made it look like a reorganization. Shifted drawers, rearranged shelves, moved my clothes into the guest room for space. She didn't notice. Too focused on designing a logo for her fake consulting brand. At one point she asked if I liked the name Tasklight. I told her it sounded like a battery company. Exactly, she said. Power, charge, drive. It's got layers. She didn't notice half my closet was empty, or that her car key was missing from the hook, or that the safe was lighter by about $1,000. By the second week, she was carrying a bamboo journal everywhere and speaking like a TED Talk host. Discomfort is just growth in disguise, she told me over dinner. I sipped my drink and smiled. So is bankruptcy. She laughed like I was joking. She thought she was leveling up. I was leveling out. Every night, she fell asleep dreaming about chakra flow and strategic partnerships. I stayed up finalizing my exit, timelines, passwords, logistics. I wasn't planning a retreat. I was building a clean break. She maxed out the joint account that Thursday. I let her. Even nodded while she showed me a retreat confirmation email titled Find Your Flame. She was going to the woods to find herself. I was getting the hell out. That morning, she floated down the stairs like she was boarding a spaceship to spiritual paradise. Hair curled, face glowing, giant tote bag slung over one shoulder, and a roller suitcase trailing behind her. Neil stood behind her on the porch, wearing some thrift store linen shirt that looked like it still had weed in the pockets. You sure you'll be okay here? She asked, 1 foot halfway out the door. I smiled. I'll survive. She kissed me on the cheek like I was a supportive roommate, and not the guy funding her midlife acid trip. Neil gave me a stiff little nod like we were in some weird club. Then they climbed into the Uber. Marcy turned and waved like she was heading off to war. Text me if you need anything. Will do. The car turned the corner, and I shut the door behind them. I already had Jared on standby. Truck was packed up around the block, engine running. He showed up 5 minutes later with gloves and coffee, and that look he gets when we're about to do something slightly illegal or extremely satisfying. You ready to purge? He asked, clapping his hands. Born ready. We got to work. 6 hours. No breaks. No second thoughts. I cleared out my stuff first. Tools, guitars, important docs, the safe, my clothes. Everything I didn't want her touching. Jared handled the heavy lifting. He didn't ask questions. Just loaded box after box like he'd done this before. Truth was, he helped me plan most of it. Then came her stuff. I didn't trash anything. I'm not petty. I stacked it all neat, labeled boxes, sealed bins, folded blankets. Even color-coded the labels. Closet, office, kitchen. The woman loved her damn labels. I wiped down every surface. Vacuumed under the couch. Emptied the fridge. The place looked better than when we moved in. Last thing I did was leave a short note in the middle of the dining table, folded once. Took a reset too. Realized I like peace. Lease ends in 30 days. Talked to the landlord. Then I took a photo of the apartment, double-checked the locks, and walked out. Blocked her number on the sidewalk. Turned off every shared account. Bank, Netflix, utilities. Shut down the joint email. Unlinked everything that tied us together digitally, financially, emotionally. Like snapping old strings one by one. By 7 p.m., I was in my new place. Quiet neighborhood. Nothing fancy. Couch, fridge, working sink. It was perfect. I cracked open a beer, kicked my feet up, and didn't hear a single guided meditation or self-help podcast for the rest of the night. No incense. No soft piano music on a loop. No strangers on Zoom telling me I needed to release shame to invite abundance. Just me. A folding chair. A cold drink. And peace. It was 5 days of quiet. No texts. No drama. No lavender oil seeping through the vents. I went to work, hit the gym, ate what I wanted, slept like a dead man. I even started dating apps again, just swiping for fun. Life was clean. Then Jared texted me. Yoshi's back. Looking rough. I called him. Already. Just pulled up to the old place, he said. Dragging a busted carry-on and looking like she lost a cage match. What about Neil? Oh, we'll get to that. Apparently, Neil's startup was nothing but a shared Google Doc called Vision Draft V2 that hadn't been updated in 6 months. Their Airbnb reservation tanked the second night, double booked, no refund. So they slept in his Honda Civic at a trailhead outside Tahoe. Marcy posted an inspirational quote about it, pretending it was some intentional minimalist experience. Truth was, Neil forgot to pack a blanket and snored like a dying goat. And then came Vanessa, Neil's actual girlfriend, who found a boomerang video of Marcy and Neil on Instagram, spinning in circles with their foreheads touching like a damn toothpaste commercial. Vanessa went full ballistic, blew up his phone, DM'd Marcy, and then outed the whole mess with a comment thread that made my week. Marcy bailed that night. No ride home. No plan. Probably cried into a chakra stone on the Greyhound. So she walked back into our old apartment expecting sympathy or at least some carpet to collapse onto. Instead, she found clean floors, empty walls, and labeled boxes stacked like a moving truck threw up in there. Just her stuff. Nothing else. She must have seen the note. Jared said she texted him 30 minutes later asking if I was okay. Then called. Then emailed. She tried me next. Voicemails, back to back. Started all sad and soft. Hey, I came home, and can you call me? Then went confused. I don't understand. Did something happen? Why is the place empty? Then angry. I deserve a conversation. After everything I've done for you, this is cowardly. I didn't respond. Just forwarded Jared one of the voicemails. He texted back. She sounds like she's pacing in socks on hardwood. Next day, she showed up at his office. She waited in the lobby, wearing a wrinkled business blouse and raccoon eyes like she'd been crying or hadn't slept in 3 days. Her mascara was halfway to her chin, and she had one hoop earring in. One receptionist said she kept whispering Jared's name like it was Beetlejuice. He finally went down and told her, plain and simple, I don't know where he is, and if I did, I wouldn't tell you. She tried to get poetic. This isn't how adult relationships end, Jared said. You left to go play granola guru with your side piece, and now you're mad nobody left the light on for you? She didn't like that. Started rambling about betrayal and mixed signals and growth trauma. Jared walked back upstairs mid-sentence. By the end of the week, she tried emailing my work account with some fake invoice for shared intellectual property, whatever the hell that means. HR flagged it and sent it to spam. She also sent a 3-page email titled, Let's Talk Honestly. I didn't even open it. There's a limit, man. You don't leave the house with Neil Dempsey and expect to come back to dinner on the table. She made a move. I made mine. Game's over. Let her sit in the old apartment and reflect. Let her call Ellie and cry about how she just needed clarity. Let her journal it out, affirm it, chant over it, post a filtered selfie holding a mug that says reset mode. Whatever helps her sleep. Because I slept great. It was Thursday night, around 9:30. Gym was quiet, almost empty. I walked out, towel slung over my shoulder, still sweaty, earbuds in, zoning out, and there she was. Leaning on my truck like she owned the damn thing. Marcy, hair tied back in some messy knot, face blotchy, sleeves pushed up, and wearing what looked like a cardigan stolen from a Panera Lost and Found. Her eyes were red, and she had that cracked lip, dry mouth look people get when they've been crying in the car for hours. I stopped dead. You serious right now? She pushed off the truck and came toward me like we were about to have a heart-to-heart on some Lifetime movie. Just listen, please, she said. You can't just disappear. You don't get to act like none of it mattered. I kept walking. You don't get to pull the fire alarm and then complain that it's loud. She stepped in front of me. You think this is what I wanted? To come back early? To have everything blow up in my face? Yeah, actually, I said. Karma's got great timing. She flinched like I hit her. I was confused. Neil made me believe. I rolled my eyes. Oh, don't even say his name. And right on cue, the universe delivered. Hey man, Neil said, walking up from behind the dumpster like he'd been summoned out of a fog. Same wrinkled shirt, same theater kid smirk. We were hoping we could all just collaborate on some emotional closure. I laughed so hard I had to grab the tailgate for balance. You think this is a group project? I said, you're not a visionary, man. You're a guy with a Wi-Fi password and a dead phone. Neil blinked, caught off guard. I didn't come here for drama. No, you came here broke, I snapped. You lied to both of them. You played Marcy with your little startup fantasy while stringing along Vanessa like she was your side quest. And now you're both out here, homeless, broke, and humiliated. Marcy opened her mouth, but nothing came out. You used me, I said, looking right at her. Used our money, our apartment, our whole life to chase some half-assed fantasy because real life made you feel boring. Her jaw clenched, and for the first time, she didn't have a comeback. Neil shifted his weight. We weren't trying to hurt you. It was about exploration. Self-growth. Neil, shut the hell up, I said. You live in your car and think Google Docs are a business model. He looked like someone had unplugged his soul. I climbed into the truck and fired it up. Marcy finally found her voice. You don't have to be cruel. I'm not being cruel, I said, leaning out the window. Cruel was watching you plan your escape like I was your emotional backup plan. I shifted into reverse. This is me being kind. I didn't throw your stuff out. I didn't torch your little tasklight empire. I left you boxes, Marcy. That's more than you left me. She took a step back. Her arms were crossed now, jaw trembling like she was holding in a scream. Neil reached out like he was about to offer some kind of peace sign goodbye or group hug. I floored it. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't wave. Just drove out of that parking lot with the windows down and the music up. I laughed halfway home. Two people who thought they were special got served a big plate of reality, and neither one could chew it. Let them figure it out. Me? I had ribs waiting at home and a fridge full of beer. That was closure enough. 3 days after the parking lot meltdown, I was in my new place watching football and finishing off leftover ribs when I heard the unmistakable beep 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 of a U-Haul backing into the lot. I stood up, looked through the blinds, and there it was. Orange and white, blocking 2 parking spots like it was about to unload a circus. Then I saw the cast. Marcy, of course, center stage in some dramatic flowy cardigan with combat boots, looking like a rejected extras coordinator from Burning Man. Her mom, Patty, hair sprayed within an inch of its life, wearing pearls like we were about to go to church. Ellie, her younger sister, arms crossed, holding a clipboard like she was running the damn event. And 2 randos I recognized from Instagram, Marcy's entrepreneur friends. One had a gimbal camera, the other wore sunglasses and indoor-only confidence. They stood at the entrance to my building like a low-budget intervention team. And then the shouting started. Zach, we just want to talk. Marcy's voice cracked through the hallway like it was scripted. Don't make us escalate this emotionally, someone else yelled, probably clipboard Ellie. I didn't move, just walked over to the intercom and hit the speaker button. You have 10 seconds to get off my property. There was a pause. Then Patty, in full mom mode, leaned into the mic like she was leaving a voicemail. You don't have to hide, Zachary. This could have been handled privately. You humiliated my daughter. You blindsided her. I sipped my coffee. She still has 3 weeks left on the lease. After that, she's the landlord's problem. You're a coward, Patty snapped. I'm a landlord's dream, I replied. Clean exit. No incense residue. Marcy jumped in, shouting up at the windows now. This is about accountability, Zach. You can't ghost your emotional responsibilities. I'm sorry. Who the hell are these people with you? They're here for support, she screamed. They've helped me workshop the trauma. Then Ellie, clipboard and all, stepped up. This is textbook male sabotage. You're afraid of creative women with power. I barked a laugh. You're yelling that from a U-Haul. Someone tried the front door, rattled it, like that was going to do something. I leaned closer to the mic. Try anything stupid, and I'll call the cops. Say ritual healing again, and I'll start drafting restraining orders. Silence. Blessed, beautiful silence. Then I heard Patty mutter something like, this was a mistake, and the weird friend with the gimbal said, we should cut this into a TikTok series. The camera clicked off. Ellie huffed. Marcy looked up at the window one last time like she was waiting for me to come down and explain myself. I didn't. I pressed the intercom one last time. Tell the driver to back up slow. The guy in Unit 4 just got a new bumper, and he's a screamer. 5 minutes later, the U-Haul beeped again, reversed this time. I watched from behind the curtain as the circus packed itself up. No yelling, no chanting, no emotional round table. Just 4 angry women and 2 confused hipsters piling into a truck like it was the end of a failed band tour. As they pulled away, Ellie flipped the bird at the building. Patty never looked back. Marcy. She stared up at my window the whole way out. Didn't say a word. About a week after the U-Haul retreat failed, I was sipping coffee at my desk, catching up on emails, when one subject line stopped me cold. Exciting joint venture opportunity, let's build. From Marcy. I opened it because I like chaos on Mondays. It was a full pitch deck. 7 paragraphs, 2 Canva graphics, and a fake quote from some dude named Dr. Linfield, business psychologist. No credentials, just a beard and a turtleneck in the footer image. The email opened like we were still married and co-running some empire. Zach, I've been doing deep visioning and feel called to offer you a front row seat in my next chapter. Front row seat, huh? She went on to explain how Tasklight Method, LLC was now a real brand with scalable potential, and she needed an angel investment equal to 3 months of our former rent, down to the exact dollar. Said it would cover her coaching certification, logo copyright, and something called launch energy, whatever that means. I didn't respond. I forwarded the whole thing to Jared with no subject line. He called me, wheezing from laughter. Bro, she actually bolded return on energetic investment. I almost crashed my car. Next day, I started hearing from people at work. First, it was Ryan from marketing. Hey man, some lady named Marcy messaged me about team clarity sessions. Is that your wife? Then Anna from sales. Your ex is pitching productivity coaching on LinkedIn. She tagged the company and quoted your annual revenue. Then my boss, Susan, pulled me into a conference room with a raised eyebrow. We got a DM from someone claiming you'd endorse her hybrid consulting model. Should we be concerned? I explained it fast, direct. My ex-wife is delusional. I'll handle it. Susan nodded, but HR still flagged it as an incident. Told me to document everything just in case. That night, I got another email from Marcy. Subject, let's not let pride kill potential. Deleted it. Then she started messaging 2 of my clients directly. One texted me a screenshot with a caption, Dude, is this for real? She had pitched herself as a former partner in my professional journey, like we were co-CEOs of Apple before the divorce. I didn't say a word to Marcy, just drafted a polite but blunt email and sent it to Patty. Subject line, please advise your daughter to stop this. Attached was a PDF titled Sample Cease and Desist Language, for reference only. Just enough to make the point. No response. Not even a passive-aggressive emoji. Which meant it worked. Jared came over that weekend, and we watched the Cowboys game. He brought wings and a 6-pack. Think she's done? He asked, halfway through a drumstick. She's not even warmed up, I said. This is just the teaser trailer. He raised his beer. To Tasklight. I clinked mine against his. And waited for the sequel. About 4 days after the PDF, I got a text from Jared at 7 a.m. with just one word. GoFundMe. I clicked the link he sent, and there it was. Marcy's newest masterpiece. Title, Help a Career Woman Escape Financial Oppression. Goal, $12,000. Raised, $38. And the best part? Every donation came from anonymous, but I recognized Patty's usual fake names, Tammy L., Wellness Warrior 89, and Sage in Heels. The description was even worse. Said I had emotionally extracted free labor from a woman with entrepreneurial gifts and abandoned her with no resources after 8 years of career sabotage. Said I weaponized stability to suppress her potential. I didn't even get mad. I was impressed by the creativity. Weaponized stability? That sounded like a rejected Coldplay lyric. 2 days later, she started posting tearful TikToks. One was her in a sun hat, crying in the front seat of a Prius, saying, Sometimes the people who say they love you only love your silence. Another one had soft piano music and a quote slide that said, Healing isn't linear, but my rent is. I didn't even have to search for them. People kept sending them to me. Co-workers, friends. A guy I hadn't spoken to since high school messaged me. Bro, is this the same Marcy who made us do vision boards at your barbecue? Then Neil jumped in. That was the cherry on top. He filmed some 2-minute video in what had to be his childhood bedroom. Trophy shelf behind him, lava lamp still working somehow. The guy looked like he hadn't shaved in a week. Marcy is a light worker, he said to the camera, all serious. And we, as a society, crush light workers. Zach may have abandoned her physically, but we can hold her emotionally. I replayed it twice, just for the lava lamp. Then came the lawsuit. Certified letter. Filed in small claims court. Claim, career damage compensation, emotional ROI. Amount, $8,400. Reason, time and energy invested during marriage towards Zach's personal development and stability. I read it 3 times, then laughed so hard I dropped my sandwich. Court date landed on a Tuesday. I showed up in jeans and a clean polo. She walked in wearing a bright yellow pantsuit and a long beaded necklace like she just came from a spiritual TED Talk. She had a legal pad covered in hand-drawn mandalas and bullet points like support is unpaid currency. She didn't bring a lawyer. She represented herself. Judge Jacobs was a no-nonsense type. Gray suit, glasses, probably 1 foot away from retirement, and fully done with everyone's drama. He asked her to begin. Marcy stood, cleared her throat, and launched into a 15-minute speech. Said things like, I was a full-time belief system. I offered soft skills and emotional architecture. My talents were never leveraged into mutual ascension. She even held up one of her fake business cards like it was Exhibit A. The judge cut her off mid-sentence. Ma'am, is there a written agreement? Any financial contract between you two about this alleged business or investment? No, she said, visibly frustrated. But there was an understanding. A spiritual contract, if you will. Ma'am, he said again, firmer. This is civil court, not a retreat center. She tried to pivot, said something about being energetically defrauded. He looked over at me, then back at her, and said, Case dismissed. It took under 6 minutes. She didn't sit down, just stood there like she was waiting for someone to object or clap. Nobody did. Outside the courtroom, she passed me by without looking. I didn't say a word, didn't smirk, didn't flinch. I let her carry that silence all the way to the parking lot. Because that was the moment she realized her magic slogans couldn't save her. Not in real life. Not in court. Not from me. 3 days after court, my phone buzzed at 6:42 a.m. Landlord. Your ex just changed the locks on the unit. Says she lives there full-time now. You want to explain? I sat up, groggy, already annoyed. She what? She said the space is hers now because of, get this, intentional workspaces and some crap about feminine energy needing sovereignty. I sighed. I'll handle it. He grunted and hung up. 10 minutes later, I logged into the utility accounts and shut everything off. Gas, electric, water, internet. All of it. Gone. If she was going to squat, she could do it in the dark. By noon, I got another text from the landlord. He'd gone by to check. Said she had lit like 20 candles and was wrapped in a knit blanket, sitting on the floor in a circle of sticky notes. She says she's manifesting heat, he wrote. Told me I was disrupting her recalibration cycle. At this point, I wasn't even surprised. Around 2, Ellie called. I let it ring once, then declined. She called again. I picked up. You think this is funny? She snapped. You think turning off heat is some kind of gotcha moment? She's in there freezing. She broke in. I said. She's lucky I didn't press charges. She needed a sanctuary. You know she works best in aligned spaces. I laughed. It's a rental unit, not a moon lodge. Ellie started screaming about patriarchy and real estate violence. I hung up mid-sentence. 5 hours later, the cops were knocking on her door. Apparently one of the neighbors called it in, said it smelled like incense and burnt hair. The officers showed up to find Marcy barefoot, holding a bundle of sage and spinning in circles like she was banishing demons. When they asked what she was doing, she said, Mercury's in microwave, and I'm stabilizing the vibration field of my workspace. They told her to step outside. She tried to hand them a business card. They asked if she had a lease. She said no, but she had ancestral rights to the energetic imprint of the space. That went over about as well as you'd expect. They dragged her out screaming about creative occupancy and womb wisdom and capitalist gatekeeping of sacred architecture. I didn't see it live, but Jared did. He was across the street grabbing tacos when it all went down. Texted me a play-by-play like it was a pay-per-view event. Jared, bro. They cuffed her. She's still yelling about energy flows. Jared. She just said this building has trauma. I'm crying. Jared, dude. She just told a cop his aura was hostile. Jared. This is better than your wedding. By morning, the building group chat was buzzing. One of the neighbors called it the spiritual hostage crisis. Someone else said it felt like a Netflix doc waiting to happen. People started leaving candles and beaded necklaces on the mailbox. Pure sarcasm. One guy taped a note to the door that said, free chakra alignment, by appointment only. The landlord changed the locks back. I covered the locksmith bill, just to be done with it. She never came back. Not to the building, anyway. Her intentional workspace became just another line in the long list of delusions she tried to brand as growth. And even after all that, after the cops, the sage, the TikToks, the lawsuit, she still had one last move. But by then, I'd already won. A few weeks after the sage meltdown, life got quiet again. No more knock-knock chaos. No inbox bombs. No weird flyers taped to my truck windshield. Just routine. Work. Gym. Groceries. A few dates with a woman who wore normal clothes, made eye contact, and didn't try to sell me a life reset before dessert. She asked once what happened with my ex. I said, long story. Short version? She tried to monetize enlightenment. She laughed. And that was it. No judgment. No follow-ups. Just real, easy conversation. Something I forgot I missed. Marcy, meanwhile, went full Delulu. Moved back in with her mom and started calling it an intentional feminine retreat. Patty posted about it on Facebook like it was a spa residency. Said she was reclaiming space to relaunch. All I saw was a woman in pajamas rage-scrolling Etsy and pretending her breakdown was a lifestyle brand. Neil went back to Vanessa, which is still wild to me. Guess she took him back after his apology post. 2 paragraphs and a ukulele song on Instagram. People will forgive anything with a minor chord and bad lighting. Ellie blocked Marcy after she tried to invoice her 4 emotional support hours. The group chat she used to run with her entrepreneur friends? Dead. Somebody leaked the screenshots of her telling them to channel their inner algorithm, and that was it. Last I checked, her productivity coaching Instagram had 9 followers. Every single one looked fake. Stock photo profile pics and handles like at Rise with Clarity 88. She posted daily. Stuff like, you can't spell power without we. Forgive yourself for building empires with unqualified kings. No likes. No comments. Just digital dust. Every few weeks, Patty emailed me. Subject lines like, you could have handled this better, or real men don't abandon growth. I never opened them. Just archived and moved on. One night, I sat out on my balcony. Nothing fancy, just 2 chairs, a cheap table, and a solid view of the skyline. I had a drink in hand, music low, breeze cutting through the late summer heat. No incense, no ring lights, no staged affirmations, just silence. I wasn't someone's backup plan anymore, or their sponsor, or their project. I was just a guy with his own name on the lease, no one knocking on the door, and nothing left to explain. And that felt like freedom. What would you have done if you were in my shoes when she came back crying in that parking lot? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And hit subscribe if you love watching delusional people get reality checked.